It's been a while, guys. It's been a long while since we last made a video about Olly. So today, that is what we are going to be doing exactly. Again, there are a bunch of things that we rolled out over the last few weeks that I wasn't able to cover because I didn't have access to my studio. But now that I do, let's go ahead and quickly cover what we've shipped over the last few weeks and how you can get access to it, right? So in order to firstly keep up to date with all the updates of Olly, I'd recommend heading to release notes. Here, even if I don't have a video on top of this yet, you will be able to find all the updates. And obviously the major updates that I want to cover over this video are the YouTube panel integration, the Reddit panel integration, the dark mode implementation, image analysis and response, and brand voice. So both of these updates are yet to be approved by Chrome, but so far we've already shipped it from our end and you should have these updates with you over the next few days. Let's start by understanding what YouTube panel support means, right? So let's just quickly go to YouTube and open any of the video. So let's open this one. And then in here, when I click on the comment button, you can see this new panel opens up. Now you didn't have this panel until 2 weeks back for YouTube, and you didn't have it for Reddit either. But we shipped both of these panels out, and the best part about these panels is that when you click on any of these buttons, it will not only take into consideration the description, title, and so on and so forth, but it will also take into consideration the transcript of the video, which means the final output that you get is actually looking through everything that it needs to before it gives you the final output. So what a mind-blowing dive into history or storytelling brings the hidden gems to life. Can't wait to see what you uncover next. Again, from a very, very high level, this is insane because you are reading a bunch of different things and then generating the comments, right? And one of the other thing that I also want to point out while I'm here is that these buttons are completely dark mode supported. So you can see I am on dark mode right now and this panel looks beautiful, which wasn't the case before this. If you go to Facebook or if you go to Instagram, the dark mode support wasn't there before this. So if you click on comment here, you can see this is now clearly visible, which caused issues before this. So if I click on like, even the comment that is generated is white in color, which is something that we wanted to ship with the dark mode support. This was a huge issue for a lot of users for obvious reasons. We've done the same thing for Instagram, but we have something special, even special for Instagram posts, which I'll walk you through in a little bit. But let's just quickly go through these dark mode panels as well. So you can see all of these are also dark mode supported. And for all the platforms that we have panels on right now, the dark mode support is rolled out. One of the other things that I also want to point out, and something that didn't exist 2 weeks back, is the Reddit panel. And again, this comes with a dark mode support. Either ways, this panel is very similar to the other panels, and it too also takes into consideration this post data, some of the sample comments in order to generate the comment. So far we've come a very long way, at least when it comes to one-click commenting, and right now we're working on something that will make this panel generic across the board. One of the things that we mentioned a few months back is that we want to make Olly an assistant, general assistant, and not rather like a social media assistant per se. And for that, we want to kind of make these panels generic wherever the text can go. And this is one of the things that we will do in order to make this generic. Now, obviously, there are more things you can do using an assistant. For example, make a note, store a note somewhere, and so on and so forth. And all of those capabilities we will add in the future. It will be like a sidekick for you in your Chrome browser, right? So that's something that we are gunning at. But obviously, we wanted to start small via social media. And now that we have a lot of users giving feedback, I think we've reached a point where we can start and add these updates for the application. Talking about application, we've also been working on mobile app, and so far we made a decent progress there. The only thing that is pending at this point of time for internal testing and beta testers is that we need to get approved by Google, which is something that is pending on Google. So we can't do much on those lines, but we're trying our best to get it out as soon as possible. All right, so let's quickly take a look at what we've covered so far: dark mode, Reddit panel, and YouTube panel. Now let's talk about the biggest update that is coming in the next few days, right? So if you open the panel, and that's something that you won't see right now, but you will see something new in the next couple of days that says brand voice. Now essentially brand voice is a way for you to make your generations even more realistic. A few months back, one of the members from our community, his name is Kevin, he reached out and he said that he improved the responses and the output quality of Olly by 5x by using a prompt that he shared with me, and it kind of gave me inspiration with respect to if I can do this or if Olly can do this for Kevin, why can't we have like a journey where users will add all of these details and the quality of the output for these users will significantly be improved? And I think some of the folks like Usman also suggested in the group that they're looking for things like brand voice, and this is what we have shipped in this update, right? And the biggest one is still pending. So to give you an overview, essentially when I go to update brand voice, it brings me to a UI like this. Now this UI will, accept a bunch of different things around personal, professional, brand, and then you can go ahead and click on generate summary. This is very, very important for us, for you to kind of create like a high level summary of your profile, which we will use in order to generate human-like output and more contextually relevant output. So you can see this is the summary that was generated for my product or my profile. And then what I can do is I can open the extension and click on brand voice configuration and then click on fetch brand voice. This will essentially fetch the latest summary that I generated using my set of details. Now note that this does consume 5 credits, so you will need some credits in your account. By default, when you sign up on Olly, you get like 20 credits, so you will be able to generate 4 summaries. Either ways, if you want more credits, you can get around 100 credits for $1. So it's actually very dirt cheap. And in fact, you can also use these credits in order to use things like Olly API, which is one of the options that we have very recently added in case you don't want to use OpenAI and other services in general, right? So that option is with you as well. Once you pull the brand voice, the response quality that is generated will be more contextually relevant, and keep in mind some details about who you are and what you do on a day-to-day basis. So all of these details will also be sent to LLMs, which will essentially help you generate even more and highly realistic human-like answers in general. That said, let me go back to the biggest update now that we've made in upcoming release. So you're looking at this post. This does not have any caption. Right now, when I open the comment panel and then I click on like, you can see this really highlights the stark wealth inequality we face. And this essentially is now taking these images and generating a comment based on those images without caption. So there is no caption to this image. There are no sample comments that we're referring to in this specific scenario. It takes this image, sends it to the AI and generates the comment. If it had captions, if it had sample comments, if it had name, all of these things will also be sent to the model along with the image in order to generate this. So how you enable this is that if you click on the Olly icon here, and then if you click on Olly configuration, here you have the option to enable or disable post images. Now note that this is only available for OpenAI and Olly API because other LLM vendors don't necessarily support images as easily as these vendors do. So ensure that this is enabled if you want to use this feature. And currently this is only working for Facebook and Instagram, and soon we will add support for platforms like LinkedIn and so on and so forth, right? Now, as you saw that there was no caption for this image and we were still able to generate the comment. Let's quickly also do that on Instagram to show you how it looks. Let's comment on this post. Obviously, there's not a lot of information available in the post itself. So let's go ahead and click on appreciate. And then you can see dividends can be a real game changer and so on, right? So essentially, the idea is that some of the posts on Instagram and Facebook don't necessarily have caption. The responses that get generated don't really sound as human-like. But with this update, you will be able to improve the quality of the responses that is generated. But note that this does cost some extra money because you're now sending images to LLM. So you'll have to keep an eye out for that. But if you're using Olly API, you don't have to pay anything extra. You can essentially just use the per credit option in order to generate any sort of responses, including the image itself. So I'd encourage you to use Olly API in scenarios where you want to use these advanced features. But either ways, if you have OpenAI and you know how to set all of this up, then I'd encourage you to use that as well. But either ways, these are all the updates that we shipped over the last 3 to 4 weeks. This update will be live very, very soon. And I'm also exploring adding things like Sherlock, which is essentially a way for you to find multiple profiles for, let's say, social media managers and so on and so forth. And I'll keep you guys posted on that. So, but until then, thank you so much for going through the video itself. If you guys have questions, feel free to drop those in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next one.